Last week, we established what the ego was. The ego is an avatar of yourself. It's what creates your definition of I when you say, I am this and I am that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what to do with the ego, continuing that conversation. So this will help you out if you have challenges with self-esteem, self-confidence, and how to acquire more perspective. Let's begin with the pun of the day. I saw this status on somebody, and it was a really funny status. It said, I was with my girlfriend for 3 years, and in the very beginning of our relationship, I borrowed $100 she borrowed $100 from me. She borrowed $100 from me. And after 3 years, we broke up, and she returned exactly $100. I lost interest in that relationship. To which somebody commented, now you're just left alone. To which somebody else commented, you deserve credit for this. All right, so what to do with the ego, how to increase your perspective, and what to do with self-esteem and self-confidence to achieve something much, much more powerful. And to really, these are 3 things that will replace a lot of what people conceive and perceive of themselves and help them perceive themselves better because of the ego, what the ego has done. So let's establish one thing we talked about last week. Ego is an avatar of yourself. It is the perspective, it is your introspection, your perspective of yourself in the eyes of other people. It is an avatar you create of yourself in the eyes of other people. It doesn't give a crap about you. All it gives a crap about is how it looks in the eyes of other people. Ego is a byproduct, as an accidental byproduct of language we created. No one here remembers their very first language. No one here remembers baby talk. But you can remember learning consequent languages because now you've created abstractions. Your ego is an abstraction of yourself, who you are, who it thinks you are, in the eyes of other people. Let me give you an example. When a cat jumps off a couch and the cat lands, thank you Amber for the like, when the cat doesn't land on all 4 feet and falls over, you laugh at it and you think the cat must be embarrassed. But the truth is the cat just walks away and doesn't know language, therefore cannot have an ego. So it doesn't care what happened. It doesn't care about what other people think of it. It doesn't care about what other cats think of it. It just goes on its life. It's a different thing with humans. Humans create stories. Humans has identity statements. Humans have ego. They care about what other people think of them because of the ego, because of learning language, because of the abstractions they create for themselves. So we've established that last week. Now, what to do with the ego? There's 3 things I want to point out today. Number 1 is perspective. From our past, we acquire perspective, right? We acquire this wonderful, amazing thing, perspective, and there's a few ways of it you can acquire it, and not all of it has to be from your experiences, but from your experiences, you acquire this wonderful thing called perspective. So you take your experiences and you take from the experiences the good things that you can use in the future, the learning lessons that you can use in the future, the experiences that will teach you how to become a better person and how to be the kind of person that you want to be in the future, and toss out the rest. Because the best thing about the past is that it's over. Now, another way to acquire perspective is through synthetic perspective. And how you get synthetic perspective is through the experiences, the perspectives of other people. Whether it's from books, whether it's from mentors, whether it's from friends, whether it's from people you admire, or whether it's from coaches, or whether it's from stages, speakers, whatever it is. And you could also acquire perspective, acquired through circumspect. And how you acquire it from your friends, from people that surround you, is you communicate to them, hey, I've been living with myself for how many years? I've been living with myself for how many years now, and I would really appreciate it if you could share with me your perspective of me, because I can't see myself from the outside in. I can only see myself from the inside out. So I would really appreciate it if you communicated with me how you perceive, what your perspective of me is. And I would suggest you acquire that from people whom you admire, whom you respect, because if you acquire perspective from people who you don't admire, you don't respect their perspectives, then their perspectives probably won't be of any help for you. So that's one way you can communicate, getting not only introspect, which is intrinsic perspective of yourself, of others, perspective of yourself, about yourself. You could acquire circumspect, perspective of others about you. So that's one way you can acquire more perspective. The number two thing, 2 and 3 are attached. And 2 or 3 are attached because one is self-esteem, one is self-confidence. Self-esteem is what you estimate of yourself. Self-estimation. If you aggrandize yourself, if you estimate much, much more about yourself than you can confidently do, and I'll go into what confidence is, then you will always make room for disappointment. If you estimate less about yourself than you can confidently do, estimate less of yourself than you can do, then you have issues. You should revisit your feelings of self-worth and feelings of appreciation. You have lack of appreciation of certain things. You know you can do it, but you estimate less than you already can prove to yourself you can do. So what you must do is balance self-esteem and self-confidence. Let me show you what it looks like. So confidence is what you know, what you prove to yourself you know you can do because you've proven it to yourself. Cornman is here. Confidence is what you know is true for you. You can read all the manuals and the books of walking on a tight wire on top of a building in the world. But until you're confident at doing it, until you can prove to yourself you could do it, you will walk 1 foot off the ground on a tight wire, not beginning on top of a building. You can read all the books and the manuals on how to ride a bike, but until you've actually ridden a bike, and until you've actually known where your skill lies and what you need to improve and not improve, whether or not you can actually ride a bike, you can't be confident. You can only have self-estimation. You can only estimate. You cannot have confidence knowing what you can do. So I had a conversation with my friend Daniel this morning, and he said something about the notion that some people, I think I was the one who said it, that I said you can't have confidence with somebody who is not confident in themselves. So appreciating that confidence is what you know you can do because you've proven it to yourself. If somebody has no self-confidence, if somebody doesn't appreciate that confidence, what you know you can do, if they don't have self-confidence, then there are things about themselves that they cannot be confident at having. They don't have confidence in what they're doing. So how can I be confident in that person if they themselves are not confident in whatever that is about themselves? So it would be arrogant of me to say so. So what you must do is you must balance self-esteem, what you estimate of yourself, and what you are confident in doing. And when you have that, you will always be self-satisfied and happy. You will always be self-satisfied and self-appreciating when you balance, when they're aligned, your self-esteem, you estimate exactly what you're confident. And then self-estimation is different from goal. You can't have overly aggrandized high self-estimation, but you can have goals. So you can have, if you do your best, when you estimate you do your best, you can confidently know that you can achieve that. That's a state of self-appreciation and self-satisfaction. It's a wonderful, amazing state. So you will never be disappointed in yourself. And then on the way to your goal, what's up, Shauna? On the way to your goal, you can have high goals, but you cannot have high aggrandized self-estimation. Does that make sense? Did that help? So if that helped, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, if you agree or disagree, leave it in the comments below, or message me if you'd like. And if you know anybody that would appreciate this message, if you propagate this message, share this video with them. And the call to action today, what's my call to action? Let's do the 3 things. So perspective. Ask yourself, how can I acquire more perspective? What can I communicate to other people so that I can acquire more circumspect? Right? Introspect is what your perspective of yourself, about yourself, and your own perspective of the world around you. And circumspect is other people's perspective of you and acquiring that so you can learn more and more about yourself and manage more of your expectations. Number 2 thing is self-estimation. How do you estimate yourself? What does your self-esteem, quote unquote, look like? So when you look at your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, what you estimate of yourself, find out whether or not you've aligned it with confidence. Confidence is what you can prove to yourself you can do through your experiencing it. You cannot be confident something you have never experienced if you haven't proven to yourself is true about yourself. So ask yourself, where does my self-estimation lie? And where does my self-confidence lie? Is my self-estimation level in alignment with what I can prove to myself? When they're in alignment, you have self-satisfaction. If they're not in alignment, if you overly estimate of yourself, you make room for self-disappointment. You can have high goals, not overly high self-estimation. You can have the best if you do the best you can do right now, that's good self-estimation, good, healthy, appropriate self-estimation. And when you prove to yourself you have what you know you can do, self-confidence, you are self-satisfied and you can create happiness for yourself. All right? So I'll talk to you on Social Sunday. See ya. Bye-bye.